from home life. I have a
Yeah,
dog
it
as
is.
well.
Right. 1, 2, 3. We are on. Hello, everyone. I am here with Jackson, who is going to run Operation Cricket, and we're going to talk about the pack today. Hello, Jackson.
Hello, nice to meet you, Bo.
Hello. And like personal introductions first. Hi, everyone. I am Bo Mortensen. I'm a competitive player here in Europe. I am based in Denmark and I have attended the WTC. I run this channel. And Jackson, could you please give us sort of an introduction along those lines for yourself as well?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Jackson Horrigan. My handle on Facebook is CrackerJacks. So I just got into bolt action since Adepticon 22, and I've been a long time 40K player, competitive 40K beforehand, and
Like
recently got
most
into
of
bolt
us.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed that in my community there wasn't too much of a bolt action representation when I first moved up to the Midwest, and so kind of took it upon myself to start. I bought my first box of Soviets and went for it and started running tournaments. And I became kind of the de facto guy in across Ann Arbor and Southeast Michigan. So it's been really good. I've ran 4 tournaments now, and I'm happy to keep leveling up and increasing the player count, getting more people involved.
And just because I'm really interested in that myself, what armies do you own?
For bolt action?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, Soviets, Italians, because I sent you a list review and you did a scathing review of my competitive Italians.
Yeah. Wasn't good.
Yeah. Afrika Korps, Germans, and now U.S. Marines. So Guadalcanal Marine Corps.
Yeah. Pretty good spread. All of it very skirmish heavy as well. So personal interests aside, you're going to run a tournament and it's coming up here in September. And the list deadline is on the 2nd of September. Is that right?
Correct.
So the lists are going to come in, and as soon as they're in, we are going to go through them, us two here on this channel. So that's going to be interesting. A lot more content coming up for this tournament as well. The tournament itself is called Operation Cricket, and it's a 28-man event. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we had 28 spots available, with possibility of opening up a wait list and stuff like that. But I expect a full sellout. So far, I've had great engagement on Facebook and Discord and all sorts of the places that I've been talking to. Got over 10 different companies sponsoring the event, through various different prize support and things like that. So it's just been incredible
Rubicon
seeing the
models
level
and of course Warlord Games and Golden Rhino Games, Tabletop Terrain. So lots of different great companies sponsoring you. And the event itself is on Saturday, the 16th, at the Liberty Aviation Museum in Port Clinton, Ohio. So, what is that space like? Could you tell us?
Yeah, so I have not been there myself yet. I've been traveling all over the country for the past few months now. But there,
and you're actually in the airport right now, so
yes, yeah. But yeah, so the Aviation Museum is really great. So here down in Port Clinton, they have 2 restored fighters. They have a Ford Tri-Motor, as well as a B-24 Mitchell bomber. Fully restored, we're actually going to be playing in the hangar, and they have all sorts of different tanks and universal carriers or guns or things like that. So we can play among the equipment that we might likely be fielding.
Lots of stuff,
which is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
They've done a ton of great restoration work over the past couple of years with their vehicles. They take them out. They're right next to the regional airports. They fly them out, all stuff for air shows and things like that. So I'm really thankful to be playing there. The guys at the museum and Fireland Games at the club, who are sponsoring the tournament, have been really supportive in making it a great venue.
Brilliant, so brilliant. I really love when you get to play in a place where it's sort of the place itself is really special in that respect. It really turns it into a special experience, doesn't it? Now, this channel is all about competitive bolt action. So we are, of course, today going to talk about your pack, and then we're going to maybe like give our expectations for what we would expect people to do, and maybe how the both of us, both Jackson and I, what we would do if we were to attend and try to win this event. But before we do that, I just want to show people your pack. which I'm not going to link it, but I'm going to share my screen here if I can get my dog to go away for just a sec. And I will share here. Right. So here we have the pack. We have all the sponsors here. All the important information is really very clearly laid out. So it's a 1250, 16 order dice limit, 1 to 2 platoons, and you have to have your lieutenant has to have an equal or greater than the morale level of the majority of your units. So if you have a majority of regular units, you're going to have a regular or veteran lieutenant, which makes perfect sense. And this applies to both platoons if you have two. No armored platoons, no theater platoons, but generic reinforced platoons, including units from the army books. So very much also something that we're seeing in many competitive events in Europe, this setup of having including all generic reinforced platoon units in when you're running generic reinforced platoon units. Anything that you would like to point out here? 1250 that's a pretty high count, isn't it?
Yeah, so I thought one of the first larger tournaments that I went to was 1250. That seems to be the standard for larger events. But especially, I mean, we talked a bit about what armies I play, and I want to see the big tanks on the table.
Yeah.
Even just talking about preliminary list reviews, I have 2 people sent me King Tiger lists already.
Yeah.
So that was just. I want to give people the opportunity to take what they like, and if that is a massive tank, if that's a lot of veteran infantry, I want to give them the freedom to do that.
And the only way to do that is to have a high point count with a fairly low dice limit. And 16 order dice limit, that is for a European meta of 1250. That's right in the Goldilocks zone. Like I would say for 1250, I would want there to be 16 to 17 order dice in my lists normally if I'm just without a dice cap. So it's right in the Goldilocks zone, which means that you're pushing people towards maybe buying that medium or heavy tank, which is kind of nice. It's just what you want to do. Having already 2 King Tiger lists, that is insane. King Tigers, oh man. I don't even know what I would do against if I'm facing off against the King Tiger. Yeah, I would try to ignore it because it's just one tank. But how do you even damage such a monster? I'm not sure.
Well, I'll tell you, at least with the Marines list that I sent you, I couldn't kill it at all.
Yeah.
Whatever it looked at, it kind of destroyed. And so I was like, well, I'm a bit in danger. Let's hope I can play the mission and try and get out of it. But it's been the guys that sent me the lists are going super thematic, very narrative heavy, and I'm really excited to see that in the event. It's a good balance of competitive and
with such a
narrative.
list, you're not going there to expect to play for the top tables. You're going there because you want to feel that King Tiger. You want to place it on the table. You want the theme of it and just to have fun with that one big tank, because most of your army is going to be that one tank. So yeah. There are also some limitations on what you can or cannot do, and I think you should like talk us through some of these, because they're a little bit interesting, and there's a ban list as well. So could you like just talk us through them and tell us why these exact limitations?
Yeah, so just going off the screen. So
the first one is let me read them and you can sort of comment. The first one is a maximum of 100 points of free units and upgrades. So Schützen or free units or whatever is a maximum of 100 points. What was your thought process there?
Yeah, so the thought there was I didn't quite want people to try and spam free units. I know like the British Indian platoon could take both the free observer and the regular squad.
That's just dumb. Yeah.
And or if, I mean, even with Schützen LMGs, if people take more than 5, I saw one of your WTC lists that you were reviewing had what 180 points of free Schützen LMGs.
Yep.
So that just seemed a little bit crazy to me. But I figure, okay, a lot of armies are able to take one free squad. The French can take up to a free howitzer, right? You can take a free artillery observer. You can take a free conscript squad for the Soviets. So it seems like 100 points is about the sweet spot to allow people to still. And I included Schützen and LMGs in there because that was originally going on the ban list. But I noticed all of the allies were taking free units. So I'm like, man, I play my Africa Corps. I feel a little bit cheated here. So I wanted to give them at least the ability to the Germans' ability to get some free goodies as well.
Yeah, and I think it's especially those Schützen squads, because it's the only place where Germans get something for free, and that they're not included in generic reinforced platoons normally is just such a wasted opportunity, because it's like the one place where you could have something that's competitively German and very thematic at the same time, because the Germans were known for their MG42s. So why not include them? Yeah, so I think it's a really good opportunity here. A maximum of two flamethrowers. So all my barbecue meta spam lists are out the door here, completely out the door. Whether they be units or vehicles or weapon teams. So and this is of course really sensible. Barbecue lists can be quite overpowered and are not very realistic and definitely not thematic, right? So I see this happening in many non-competitive events where flamethrowers is just banned down to 1 or 2. So your thought process of allowing 2 here and not just 1, what was that?
So the 2 was as you saw. So I play Italians, and I saw, okay, well, 2 flamethrowers, that gives you the ability to maybe take 2 engineer squads, or you could take a Guastatori with double up flamethrower, but that's all the flamethrowers you get in your army. And I thought 2 would be a bit of a sweet spot, so you could take a mix of engineers or a team or even a vehicle mounted flamethrower. So you can still use the toys you have, but it's not absolutely overwhelming for your opponent to deal with 2 flamethrowers. If you get a lucky sniper shot, or maybe as I've done many times, you're unlucky to miss and run out of fuel, you still have that backup.
Yeah, a little bit of redundancy with flamethrowers can be a really important thing. I've been playing a lot of games on TTS lately, and my opponents, mostly Soviets, I have to say, all bring BA-20s, and they all run out after the first shot. so a little bit of redundancy sometimes it's nice to have, and 2 flamethrowers. I think many, like if you're going to play on having a flamethrower, if that is important part of your list building, having 2 is nice. Having 4, not needed, definitely not. So you can definitely build a list without them. A maximum of 1 heavy howitzer, that is unusual as well. So the leaf blower lists are out, or what?
So that one is a little bit personal to me. In the first tournament that I ever played in, I actually, 1 second there, you can do a PA.
Right, we'll just wait for Jack loudspeakers to go away. Right, he's as we said, he's still in the airport, just waiting for his plane to. So, 1 heavy howitzer. I think one of the things you could do here is you could just take medium or light. You don't most of the time need heavy howitzers anyway. So that's a bit of a cheeky workaround, I think, for that. So leaf blower lists may not be completely out, but they are a little bit less effective without the heavy howitzer, aren't they? Yeah, and it comes on back again, the PA there. Yeah, right.
Can I still talk? Are you going to hear the loudspeaker if I keep talking?
We can hear it a little bit in background, not too much. Right.
Okay, well, that's good. I can keep talking. So the limits on the heavy howitzer is a little bit personal to me. So the first tournament that I played against or played in was a similar deal, 1250, 1 to 2 platoons. And one guy took 2 heavy howitzers and 2 artillery observers. And I very much did not have fun in that game. Everything was taking D6 pins, getting down or getting eliminated, and I just felt that I had really nothing to deal with it. Getting a little bit salty in defense. I'll wear that one. And that kind of goes into the multiple rocket launcher spam as well. I have the 1 cap. So I saw in your reviews, sometimes you encounter what you call the noob basher list, right?
Yes.
And that is not what I'm trying to encourage in my event. I want new players to come. I want players of all experience levels to feel welcome and valued. And if somebody rolls up with sometimes 4 multiple rocket launchers, that's not a type of environment that I want to condone. And
No.
so this kind of combination
I mean,
of
good
structure.
Good players will know how to deal with those multiple rocket launchers, but a new player, a player who's not encountered like maybe one multiple rocket launcher, or like it's his third game or whatever, they're not going to know how to do that. So they're going to be completely pummeled to death by that. And that's why I call it a noob basher, because it often feels like it's a list that will just absolutely trash new beginning players, and sometimes win a game against an experienced player, but most of the time against experienced players it'll just not do well. So that's also something that we see more and more, people just a little bit limiting how many multiple launches you can take.
Yeah, so I thought overall these kind of limitations on the packet give people enough creativity to use the toys that they want, but you gotta get a little bit tricky with it. Like you were saying, with maybe using doubling up on light howitzers or doubling up on medium howitzers or things like that. There are ways where you can stay fluffy and stay a little bit competitive, give your list a little teeth, but not go overboard so that your opponent has a bad time. Yeah.
And then there's a short list, and I'll just pick out like one or two that's interesting. The canister round, the 37 millimeter M2 canister round is out, as is the British Naval Observer. And to this, we should now include the upgraded something new Naval Observer that's coming out soon, because
the super heavy artillery observer.
The super heavy, that's going to be insane. None of them are actually fun to play against, so I completely understand that. Although they are in the generic reinforced platoon, you should be able to take them normally, but it's just not fun. You could consider letting people buy the British Naval Observer, because he's 150 points, and that would, like, he would go over your free limit anyway. But if you really want to buy one, but then you're spending points, and nobody would do that, I think. So yeah, I sort of agree with most of these limitations that you're doing here. Find them really interesting. They should be fun. Then we have the in-game clarifications. The regs will be left on the table. That should, most tournaments like you, Jackson, here should at least the TO should decide, because it says in the rules that players can decide amongst themselves, and they shouldn't. There should be a standard for a tournament. Turret Jam is out. Many people pull that out. Tiger Fear is out. Many people, because it's finicky. And players will battle to turn 6. There is no rolling for turn 7, so you'll have a fixed set of turns. Interesting. What's the thought process behind that one?
Yeah, so that actually came back to, especially when I was running my doubles tournament. So I have a 3-hour time limit in each of my rounds, but sometimes the game can just take a while, and if players are rolling randomly for turn 7, that changes up scoring dramatically. This coming back to the 40K days, where I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm playing till turn 6. I can have a little bit more thought out of a plan. Whether my guys want to listen to me and not go down on my order checks is another story. Yeah. But I thought limiting it to turn 6 when it's such a large game, and you have a wide mix of players. Maybe some people, this is their first tournament or even first game, whereas others, they've been to multiple tournaments, so they can get through a 1250 game in a breeze. But some people just need that assurance of like, hey, well, I don't need to roll random. And then a quick clarification on the Tiger Fear. When I played in a tank war event, I noticed that a lot of the folks that were bringing German tanks were it got to the point where they were going against other German tanks with Tiger Fear. And it's like, why would a Tiger captain be afraid of another tiger?
That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Yeah. The scoring itself is also a little bit interesting. Maybe we should just touch on that. You get 20 points for a win, 10 points for a draw, 0 points for a loss. There's a painting competition for 30 points. There's a sportsmanship competition for 30 points. And if you submit your army list early, you get 5 points extra. So there's a lot of extra points to score here if you do like other stuff than actually win games. So basically, you could claw your way to victory just from these other factors, couldn't you?
Yeah, and I structure that in the prize support. So like you said, Operation Cricket is the name of the game. I have a 3D printed cricket bat trophy that I made. I'm painting up myself. So that's going to be the best overall. So that's going to factor in all of this stuff. And there's also individual prize support for best general, both on the Axis and Allied side. Best minor power I recently added, as well as the best painted award and best sportsmanship and stuff like that. And this sportsmanship criteria.
Yeah, we can see the awards here on the screen while we are just waiting for the PA to stop again. The Renaissance Man, that's a combination of generalship, painting, and sportsmanship, so that's all of it. Then we have best general, best Axis general, best painted army, best sportsman, that's being voted by the players, best battlefield, that's players who provided terrain, and the Purple Heart, which is the player who had the worst record of the day, what we normally in Europe call the wooden spoon, and quite often will actually give a wooden spoon to that player, which sucks. But sometimes you'll find players who actually go for that award because they know that there'll be bigger like prizes. They'll get the best, like a whole army box or whatever, because they were like that you had a really sucky day here, get a prize, right? Right.
Well, that's kind of that also comes back to whenever I started playing 40K, the local tournaments that I played down in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, they would give last place a new set of dice, and I thought that was really, really funny. To go in and it's like, okay, we'll blame the dice, we'll call it back. You definitely need new dice.
Yeah.
But actually, speaking a little bit about the prize support, I ended up getting so much from all the different companies that it's become a bit of a theme at a lot of the tournaments that I run, because this is the 4th tournament that I'm going to be running, that everyone will walk away with something regardless of how you place. And I think that is super important for encouraging players to keep coming back and to travel to these events. So that way you make the most of your entry fee. And not only you get 3 games, but you have so many different awards to compete for. If you specialize in painting, you can come. The best battlefield, Port Clinton, because this is their first convention, they didn't provide any terrain. And so I asked the players, I said, hey, I'll make an award for it. So it's a paid prize, as well as getting in some prize support and stuff. But yeah, we have 14 tables all provided by I think 12 different players, which is really something special, because all the players that come in and build the terrain for their own house or something like that, they really go that extra mile. It's really something special to try and reward that in the hobby.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of things to keep track of for you. I also like that you include a sportsmanship scoring and like sort of lists down, not just cheating, because I've made videos before about how people can cheat in bold action, and not that I see a lot of people doing it, but you hear rumors sometimes. I've seen like 1 or 2 instances of people doing something that's really questionable, but mostly you don't see anything. But there's also like all the stuff that's not really cheating, that's just bad behavior, and I really like that you included what's bad behavior, how do you not do this, and how, what will the TO do in these cases? So it's all out in the open beforehand. That's really great, having that up front, I think. For me, I also like to tell my players like all the nasty shit first, right? All the stuff where I have to be like the bad guy, I do that first, so I don't actually have to do it at the event, which is always works out better.
Yeah, the best thing is to just be transparent with scoring. And I actually got this whole rubric from Andrew and the Chicago Dice Crew. This is what they use for Adepticon for their events. And I thought that was a very easy way. I can just plug everything to a spreadsheet, and if they have me come over, or it like gives players a good sense of like, okay, well, this is not only what I should be on the lookout for my opponent, but this is also, oh, I didn't know they didn't reward salty behavior, so I'm going to do my best to encourage the best of the hobby. And I think just being transparent with the scoring and not trying to be heavy-handed and make sure people don't have a good time after calling me over a bunch, but just set expectations of this is the kind of game that I'm expecting people to play. And people are this is turning into like a Midwest US regional at this point. I think I have people from 5 different states coming to play.
That's pretty good.
which is pretty incredible.
I
So the
know
fact that
people
everybody,
in the Midwest are more likely than Europeans, at least, to drive far and to travel to go to stuff they want to go to. But that's pretty good still. 5 states. That's yeah. You're setting up to be like the Central American tournament here. So that's really cool. So let's talk about what we expect players to do here. Um, should I start or should you? What do you think players would do with this set of rules here?
sure. So I guess what I would see or what I would expect, I would think people go with a, I'd say using your nomenclature would be the mixed bag list, right? It's not exactly, you're not going to specialize into a barbecue, into a tank spam list, or anything like that. Okay. But I think that this pack gives people enough creativity to say, hey, if I want to go Last Bloody, if I want to go Stalingrad, if I want to try and go for that theme, which is a part of my painting score as well, they have the ability to do so and still have the possibility to win some of the bigger paid prizes.
Yeah.
So I think like this, what I would expect is maybe at least like for my ringer list, right? I took one flamer. I took
and while you're
howitzer,
talking about that, I'll just show it on screen because I have it right here. So the ringer list, that's the TO list in case you get an odd number of players or one player has to drop out to illness, is a veteran second lieutenant, Marine squads with BARs, 3 BARs, lots of skirmish here. Air Force observer with an extra man, engineer with a flamethrower, another Marine squad here with some submachines and pistols, so a close combat unit, medium machine gun, regular medium mortar with a spotter, sniper team, bazooka team, AA gun, jeep, just with the MMG, so not a transport, the LVT, love it, love my LVT. And another LVT, which is just a transport, so pintle mounted MMGs and a Jeep. So double LVT, lovely little list.
Yeah, so the plan of this list is I want to use my amphibious beach assault for my U.S. Marines. And so that's kind of how I would provide theme. But it still has some teeth with it. I mean, veteran U.S. are nothing to sniff at for sure. But I did take the Air Observer as well because I wanted to leverage the American rules and have a bit of fun with it. And I wanted to make sure that regardless of who I play, I can still give them a good game without being an absolute pushover. You don't always win against the TO. So, but I'm gonna make it at least give you a good shot for it.
Give it, yeah, make it possible. I mean, to give you, and with LVTs as your main armor, you're not going to be very dangerous. I mean, the alligator LVT is kind of neat in that it's close top, it's amphibious, it's 7+ armor, so it's low armor, but it has a light AT gun and machine guns, all the machine guns here. One thing I'll note though is, Jackson, that you have 3 flak guns and you have an air observer, which is that's going to be fun.
Has come into play.
Yeah.
Where my own flak gun has shot down my plane.
Oh.
And that was really disheartening. When I didn't quite, when I first was learning, I didn't quite, I'm still a fledgling TO. I didn't understand that my own flak would also try and shoot down my planes. I'm like, well, I've already made the list. I'm already painting the models. I might as well still go for it. But
and because you're playing as the ringer here, as the TO, it doesn't really matter that much. It's fine. And it's still at 15 order dice. It still has teeth. It's got a lot of good units. It's got a lot of staying power as well. So yeah, the list is not bad at all. And I was
I really want to hear what you were going to say.
Yeah,
for this event, because
if I was going to play, there are 2 routes you could go for me. You could go competitive and try to win, but then you would not get any of the theme scores and maybe not even the paint scores as well. And if I was going that way, I would go Gurkhas and Darker Stewards and Bren carriers and all the nastiness, because you haven't outlawed that. So and because there are less flamers, less heavy howitzers, then the assault will be more effectful. So I think in this meta, just going on reading the meta, assault might be an easy way to win. I don't think I would do this though, because with 30 points hanging on the painting score and the theme score, I would want to at least get some points there. So I think if I was going to build a tournament a tournament list for this, I think I would bring out my recent army project, which is the Ukrainian partisans. The what if UPA? What if Hitler had supported the Bandera Ukrainian Nazis and made an army out of that? I'm still painting and I'm still assembling, but it's really nicely painted, and it has a lot of assault ability still. Hasn't got a single tank, not one. So no armor at all, but a lot of infantry. And I think I would go double platoon there, so I could bring 2 bazookas, 2 flamethrower teams, and some cavalry units, a lot of regulars with Panzerfausts, and some light howitzers. I think that would be mortars. That would be like so again, more skirmishy, but still with a lot of assault power in the list. That's the way I think I would go for this format, trying to get a few painting points while at the same time winning my games.
So, well, yeah, because that's the thing is between sportsmanship and painting, that's 60 points right there. And so that if you go 3-0, you get 60. So even if you win out, that's still only half of your average score, which that gives you. So yeah, I would actually, I'm really excited to see whenever you complete that project. I can't wait to see them all painted up and looking beautiful.
They are.
So yeah,
I brought them to my my rookie tournament 2 weekends back, and if I wasn't the TO, people said that I would have won the painting competition. So they are getting there, but I'm not done with the project yet. So so there's like a few steps to go before I'm actually showing them on the channel. But they will be I will bring them to tournaments as well. So, and I think that would be the way to go here. Right. Jackson, you're going to catch a flight, but we are going to meet up again, talk missions, and then we're going to meet up and talk lists as well. Thank you so much for joining us. And is there anything like final thoughts that you would give the viewers before we sign off here?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, just thank you so much for having me on the channel. I've been a longtime supporter of your content. And yeah, I'd say for the viewers back home, if you're in the US, we still got plenty of slots open. The list deadline is September 2nd. I posted on Facebook. You can find Operation Cricket under Hold the Line, also on Tabletop Events. And so we have plenty of slots left. Come out and get a game in at a historic venue, and love to see you there.
And I will, if that's okay with you, I'll include your email in the description so people can find you easily.
Please do. Yeah. Thank you. I will see you next time. We'll talk lists and meta.
Let's talk list and meta next time. Right. That was it, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Cheers.